I hope I'm doing this right. Can anyone hear me? Is my audio coming in? Hello, Jessica. I hope I'm coming in right. Thanks for coming. This is my first time doing a solo live thing. I'm totally winging it. I don't know what I'm doing. Uh, Hi. So I'm assuming you can hear me. Okay. All right. I just wanted to kind of mark a milestone here. This is my fourth year on this channel as the NewBee Reviews, and it's a weird. I know it's a weird milestone. 4 years, why not five? But I couldn't wait. Uh, and a lot has happened in the last year by itself, so I just wanted to kind of go over some of that and answer a bunch of your questions. I have a whole bunch of questions now. Uh, yeah, the channel started pretty slow, and I went into it expecting it to go slow, and and then I did a review of a movie called The Human Centipede, and that seemed to get a lot of traction, and then that's when the channel started to grow, and it was strange. And then I said, let's do, if I get 2,000 views, I'll do the second one. And this was at a time where 500 views would be plenty. I would not get more than that on any given video. And lo and behold, I hit 2,000 and I had to do the second one. Okay, so I raised the bar on that. On the second one, I hit more. And next thing I knew, I'm doing a whole bunch more strange, freaky horror movies, and which is fun to do. So you can't. YouTube kind of you go where YouTube blows you. Came out weird. Okay. Anyway, well, just to give you an idea what that growth was like, I kept everything marked down in this calendar I had. Because I was tracking, just where my uh, items were. On March 1st, I had 1,600 subs. And March 22nd, 1,700. Okay, that was pretty good growth. And then 1,800, and a week later, 19, and then another week later, 2,000. Okay, so 1,000 a week. That's exciting for me. I was blown away. Then 2,000 a week. All right, okay. And then you can see how it kind of ballooned from there. I think my record was like 900. 900? No, like 4,000 in a day. No, wait, 1, 2, 3. Like 8,000 in a day. And then it kind of peaked and then started to dwindle. It's still nice in June. I was on top of the moon for this. But then it kind of started to dwindle a little. Or it didn't dwindle, but it slowed down. Which, it was fine. And I kind of stopped tracking this thing because I didn't want to become obsessed with the numbers. I just wanted to just keep focus on doing what I'm doing. And my philosophy is this: if other people dig it, I'm doing something right. So let's get on with the questions. Okay. Yes, YouTube does blow a lot. All right. Nama asked, what do you want to gain from making these videos, or is it just for fun? I started off doing these as for fun, kind of a creative outlet. I have a background in video production, and a lot of those skills were going to waste. And I figured this would be an outlet that I could use that skill set in and put them to work, and maybe have a second career going, a second stream of income would have been nice. So, and I'm going to elaborate on this more because more questions kind of deal with this, and I'll build up on it. But right now, well, when I first started, it was for fun because I was not assuming to make any money, and I did not make any. I still hardly make anything now, but it's more about doing the work and just keeping the output, the end product to me is the reward for now. So that's what I try to do. I'm very project oriented, so I always have my eye on the next project. So now I just wanted to focus on that, just have fun with it. But I went into this intending to make money at it, but expecting not to. So, I have the effort behind it, but the expectation is more. I'm very grounded when it comes to this. I'm very pragmatic. So, for right now, it's for fun. It's a hobby, and when it stops being fun, then I'll have to reevaluate. But for now, I'm still having a blast doing it, and it's a lot of fun. I'm glad you do. Thank you, Justin. My favorite horror movie is Poltergeist. Okay, next question is, my favorite show right now is Rick and Morty. I think that's my current favorite show. What piece of movie memorabilia would you love to own? A lightsaber. Just a lightsaber prop. I think it would look great back there. What's the best part of being a YouTuber? Doing stuff like this, really. It's being able to just connect with the audience, you guys, directly, and get that feedback, and you get the feel, the energy back and forth. It's kind of neat to see that. When you do something and other people enjoy it. It'd be a very different story if a lot of people are not liking it, but I've been blessed that a lot of people like what I do, so I'm happy with that. But you guys are the best part of being a YouTuber, really. What movie did you look forward to reviewing the most? Showgirls. When I started this, I wanted to do Showgirls, but I held off on doing that because I kind of wanted to save it for a special event, and two, I wasn't sure how to do it without getting demonetized. And I went through a period when I wasn't getting monetized, and I figured, screw it, 100 episodes, let's do Showgirls. And when I did it, afterwards I regained monetization, and they demonetized the video. So sometimes you can't always win. How is Soja Boy 21? I love you, man. Can I have a response? Maybe. Sure. And the next question. What is the movie you most dreaded reviewing, are dreading reviewing? There's a few. One of them I've already done, a Serbian film. Yeah, that one I was not dreading. There's other movies that I kind of want to do, but I don't at the same time, because that means I would have to sit through them. And one of them is The Room, the Tommy Wiseau movie, and I would love to do that movie, but it is so hard to sit through. Man, that movie hurts. But I do want to do it eventually. Maybe I'll do it at 100,000. Who would play you in a biopic? Henry Cavill. Moving on. Congratulations on 4 years. Thank you. What do you prefer, physical or digital media? They both have their uses. I like digital media because it's compact. You can put it on your phone. You can put it on a thumb drive and carry it with you on vacation. But there are times where I do appreciate physical media. When there's no internet, when there's no, when the service isn't available, or when Netflix takes the movie out of the rotation, it's nice to have a physical copy to just fall back on. And I can always rip a digital version off of these anyway. So I like having physical copies, but I usually wind up turning them into digital anyway when it's something that I'm going to watch a lot. So they both have their uses. What's it like being the sexiest motherfucker on YouTube 4 years in a row? I have no idea. You're going to have to ask my wife. out of all the movies you've covered on the channel, which one did you have most fun reviewing? That's kind of a toss-up. I think off the top of my head, probably one that I had a whole lot of fun doing was the Teeth review. Does my sound coming in weird? Somebody mentioned that I sound weird. Do I need to get closer to the mic? Alright. If the sound gets weird, just let me know. Yeah, I think Teeth is probably one of the most fun I had. Species was another really fun one. Next question, when are new reviews coming out? I'm working on the next one now. It's a surprise, which one, but I hope to have that one out in a few days. It takes time, plus I had a busy weekend, and you know how it is. I am echoing. Is it really echoing? Let me see, maybe there's something I can do about that. Is that better? We'll see if that helps. Okay. The next Deadheads live stream is probably going to be within the next week or so. We just had like other projects come up, and with the holiday and everything. Plus, I've been really busy at work, so we've had to push some stuff around. But probably sometime this week. That is very possible. I might have two capture devices. No, should be there. Let me tweak this again. It got worse? Oh. All right. Let me. Your videos are good. If you got merch, where can I get it from? I got like t-shirts and stuff like that on the pages. I have a Teespring store, so you can probably find it there. Plug. Why did I get that? Okay. How about now? Did that help? All right. I'm still learning this live stream thing, so should just be one mic, but right. Let me mess this here. Hello from the UK. Molten Mouth. All right, let me. How about now? Is that working? Let me see if... I think it was picking up the desktop audio too. Okay. Hello, Brazil. Is it still echoey? Oh, man. Okay. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can fix this. All right, let's see. Properties. All right. How's that? Did that? Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Moving on. Has your YouTube career brought you closer to your cats? Uh, Still cannot hear you. It's quiet now. Okay. All right. It has kind of brought me closer to my cats. Let's see. I have the three cats. We have the three cats. You know the you know Kitty. Her name is Karma. She's kind of a bitch, but she's very judgy. Um, but she, she has her own way. She has her own little thing. Um, we also have Loki. He is a troublemaker. He is a very um, rambunctious, eternal 2-year-old. And Gabby. She is an absolute mystery. The There was we had a neighbor. She belonged to a neighbor, and they moved away, and they left her behind. So for a year, she's just been hanging out on our front yard. But eventually, she started coming in, uh, coming closer to the house. So we started feeding her, and eventually, she just started coming in. But she still likes to leave, so we can't really stop her. But she is like the smallest, furriest cat I've ever owned. But we love her. Okay. Next question. I know why you will never review Birdemic. hmm But is there any other film you will never touch? And if so, why? Congrats on 4 years. I'm glad I found your channel. Well, thank you. Um, Never touch Birdemic 2. That's too easy. Uh, there's some movies I feel like I would never touch. Like, I don't think I could do the proper respect to it. Or everything that can be said about it has been said. Like The Phantom Menace. I feel like everyone's done that one to death. It'd be too easy to do something just because. But I usually do a movie because I have something to say about it, something I want to share. Thank you, Bradkin. It's like if it's something I can have some fun with, poke fun at it, uh, and just because I poke fun at a movie doesn't mean I hate it or angry about it. But I manage to find layers of fun when I watch a movie sometimes. Uh, it's kind of like what I've always done with these things, and annoyed the piss out of my friends. I'm sure. I figure stick a camera in front of me and put it on YouTube. All right, next question. Newbie, I've always had a thing for making personal reviews on the films I've watched, mostly horror. Do you have any advice on how I can make my beginner steps count? How was it when you started out here on YouTube? Um, just be true to your own opinion. Just when you have a thought on a movie, just express it. Just review things for yourself. Don't try to appease what the rest of the crowd is saying, or just because a bunch of people like a movie doesn't mean you have to, or vice versa. Just stay true to what you feel about the movie, and you should be fine. It's kind of like how I started on. When I started, I was going between trying to say what people want to hear. Then I realized I just need to say what I want to hear. I make jokes that make me giggle. So if it makes me giggle, cool. If it makes other people giggle, great. So that's kind of how my approach to doing things. Do you take inspiration from any particular other reviewers on YouTube? Multi-part question here. Unrelated, how do you feel about the Human Centipede reviews being your most popular on your channel? Are you okay with the fact that they're most people's introduction to your channel? Okay, first, inspiration. Yeah, I watched a lot of reviewers before I did this. Even before I thought of doing this, I added thank you, Hogarth. Um, I, I watched a lot of Chris Stuckman, John Flickinger, Nostalgia Critic, Channel Awesome, Cinema Snob, Decker Shadow. I just watched a lot of those, and it's like, it's kind of like the kind of stuff I do when I'm alone in my room. So I kind of like thought maybe let's see if I can do it. Let's give it a shot. And I used to have this notion, or my holy grail at the time was Channel Awesome, and it was like this pinnacle because it was a excuse me, it was like an Avengers kind of thing, a cinematic universe of movie reviewers and pop culture reviewers. They had this seemingly camaraderie. It was like a whole little universe they crossed over and everything. And I'm like, that would be cool to be a part of. Then the whole thing happened, the whole CTC thing happened. And I kind of unhitched my boat from that. I kind of broke orbit on Channel Awesome, and so I'm just kind of moving away. Why is the echo back? I didn't change anything. The echo might be coming through the stream. Maybe it's a streaming issue. But yeah, a lot of my influence was from other reviewers giving me the guts to try it. But I also want to make sure I do my own thing, or I don't try to do something that's been too done already. So and it's a hard thing to do. I think one of the most fun things was when I did a review before anyone else did, and I think that was Marion Max. None of the other people I've watched have even touched that movie, and that was funny. I love your Nakatomi Tower DVD collectible. Yeah, it came with Blu-rays. I saw that in the store. I was like, I gotta have that. I wish it lit up though. Yeah, I think the echo might be streaming issues. Maybe it might be net traffic. You are a lot funnier and less cringe than Channel Awesome. Thank you. They are funny, but the skits they do are cringe. I do notice they do more and more skits. It's weird. I mean, I don't have the resources to do skits, so it's just me, 3 cats, and Vinny, which I don't know where he is. What are your cats' names? Gabby, Loki, and Karma. All right, next question. Favorite movie you've ever reviewed? Favorite movie I've ever reviewed. As a personal favorite, a movie that I really loved is Starman. And when I finally got to review it, that was a lot of fun because I also got to use the Zip and Rar, those aliens. And it was one of my favorite movies, and I just couldn't wait to review that one. Next question. Would you ever consider reviewing a favorite TV show of yours? I would, but it's... I don't know. I'm kind of. I'll probably review them as seasons, episode per episode view. That would be hard to do, or like what Chris Hardwick does with The Walking Dead, where he forges a career piggybacking to another TV show. I don't think I could do that. Congrats on 4 years. What is your all-time favorite movie? And what movie scarred you most as a child that you still recall to this day? Thank you for the congrats. And my all-time favorite movie changes. I have like a top 10 list of movies that I love. I don't have an absolute top one because they kind of shift, kind of whichever my mood is. But there are some movies that I would watch on loop and not care. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of them. Starman is another one. It's just a lot of it depends on my mood. But what movie scarred me most as a child that I still recall? When I was, I don't know, 2 or 3, my parents took me to the drive-in, and they were sitting up front watching the movie, and I was in the back seat, huddled under with my toys, and they were watching The Exorcist. And I didn't know what was happening, but all I could hear was, "Ah, your mother sucks," and being fairly traumatized, I'd look up and this demon child is vomiting soup all over a priest, and I hide. So I still very much remember that experience. Okay, another question. Do you like the human centipede? Not really. I did have fun reviewing it because that movie was ripe for it, but there was a lot of seeds that I could sow for laughs out of it. But on a personal level, I would rather not have to watch it again. It's just not necessary. That being said, if he makes a part 4, I am totally reviewing it because my channel seems to love it. Let's see. What was the hardest movie for me to review? Serbian film. I had to go over and see. I had to think, what would YouTube not determine to be acceptable? And it turns out about half the movie. So that one got limited ad revenue on it, which it's fine. I went in expecting it. I didn't expect. So you get saved a few commercials on that one because I get it. That movie, the concepts alone, even just talking about it, people would be like, nope, think of the children. I'm a grown adult and I felt weird talking about this stuff. Zachary, hey man, absolutely love your channel, thank you. And you've said this before, what is your favorite genre of movie? Secondly, do you and your wife agree on movies? Thanks, and here's 4 more years. My favorite genre, I love adventure movies like Raiders. I like action movies. I also love horror movies, good horror movies. But do me and my wife agree on movies? Generally, yes, we agree. There are some movies that she likes that I'm not a fan of, and vice versa, which is normal. But there are some movies that we really love to watch together that we have fun with. Showgirls was one of them. Hi, Chloe. Thank you. Oh, 3:30 in the morning there. And also, big shout out to my patrons out there. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you, Chloe. Hey man, absolutely. Oh, no. I've had the. Which movie affected you most mentally? The first time I saw The Human Centipede, it messed me up. I was like semi-catatonic for about an hour trying to process what it was I just saw. That was a mental scarring there. When we're talking about movies that scared me, I think one of the ones that comes to mind was The Ring. After the movie ended, the credits finished, and the lights came up, I was still sitting in the theater, kind of uneasy, and I was hesitant to get up and walk out of there. And it was broad daylight outside. So that was another movie that kind of messed me up. Okay, another question here. Hey there, if you channel the channel, love your humor and personality, thank you. What is your favorite Star Wars movie? I love the original trilogy. I do too. I think that is the best trilogy out of all of them. And it was the prequel trilogy was okay. had some strange choices there, little fan servicey, and the next trilogy, the sequel trilogy, had some good moments and some baffling choices. And as I said in my Rise of Skywalker review, there were a lot of cool things that happened in the movie, and a lot of head-scratching stuff. So, but even the original trilogy had some weird things like that, but not overwhelmingly. All in all, it was the perfect movie trilogy. Started a story and it ended the story and wrapped up everything. It was well done. If there was one movie you wish was eradicated off the surface of the earth, what would it be? Nah, we'll leave Birdemic alone. I don't know. I don't think there's a movie that really needs to be removed. Because no matter how bad a movie is, somebody out there must like it. And I wouldn't be one to deny them that. It doesn't mean I have to watch it. So I would eradicate movies off my own list that I would not watch myself. But if, what's that rule? Whatever is out there, there's somebody who's into it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it's my microphone that's doing this. I think it's streaming if it's coming and going, because nothing's changing over here. Okay. Is that the Die Hard building back there? Yes, it is. I had a Funko Pop John McClane sitting on top of it, but he got knocked into the back, so I have to dig him out of there. Let's catch up on some of these questions. How have I been holding up recently? The only person I felt the need to support on Patreon. Thank you. It's been good. I mean, we've been blessed and lucky that my job, I can do it from home, and my wife works in the medical field, so she still has work. And our routine doesn't really change all that much, except going to the grocery store is a lot more irritating. But we're holding up, and fingers crossed that it maintains. Review Mel Gibson's Apocalypto. I haven't seen it. I'll check it out. How did you come up with the idea to use their aliens? It's kind of a recycling of an idea I had in college. We had a sketch comedy show where the premise was aliens were annoyed with all the broadcasts, all the garbage that were beaming out into space, and they were just going to blow up the Earth to silence them. So our comedy show was supposed to give them stuff, give them a reason to not blow up the Earth. And I kind of recycled that idea, and just something to be the audience's devil's advocate, usually triggering items for alien stereotypes, things like that. And plus, sometimes you just gotta cross over with yourself, Let's see. You should review Joker. I would love to. That movie is incredible. Well, I already spoiled what I thought of it, but yeah, maybe sometime in the future. I try to do movies that are kind of a little older. One, YouTube doesn't get as cranky about copyright if the movie has a little age behind it. And two, I kind of want the hype to die down before I reintroduce it, because some people might be like, oh, another Joker video, pass. So I don't want to inundate everyone. How old are you, and how long have you been married, and was she okay with you doing the YouTube thing? All right, I am. Guess how old I am? No, you probably know. I'm 50. I just turned 50 in March. Do I feel 50? In the mornings, yeah. But yeah, 50. How long have we been married? We've been married for 3.5 years. December is our anniversary. And was she okay with me doing YouTube? She was probably glad I wasn't trying to buy a Corvette. Because I look at my YouTube career as my midlife crisis. But yeah, she's been very supportive, and I probably couldn't have done it without her support, and I eternally love her for that. Because I could easily be embarrassing her doing this, and thankfully I'm not. And then when she wanted to open up her own channel, I encouraged it, and I thought, we could do this together. So yeah, so she was on board. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Siren Head conspiracies? I've started seeing clips of Siren Head. I'm waiting for for them to make a terrible movie about it. I mean, they ruined Slender Man, so Siren Head, you're next. He's kind of silly as far as creepypastas go, but I've seen some video clips of it, and it's kind of creepy. Like I said, I can't wait for them to make a really bad movie about it, but I'll probably watch it anyway. You should review The Platform. I've heard of that movie. I have not seen that, but I intend to. What would you do to repair the damage Disney has done to Star Wars? That is a video in itself. It would have to depend on a lot. I mean, if I could wave the magic wand and not have anyone, have Carrie Fisher alive today, I would. The original guys would have a lot more to do. I don't think I would have mirrored A New Hope so much in Force Awakens. I don't know if I would have brought Palpatine back. That's a whole other video that I'll probably have to be a whole lot of notes on. But yeah, I could do it. Let's see. What was your favorite review you made on the channel? Teeth. That was one of them. I would like to do the Scream series eventually. Have you heard of Stung? Is that the one with the thumbnail as a bee about to sting a dude's eyeball? Probably. I mean, we're in bee season now, so why not? Your vids are great. Keep it up. Thank you. All right, next question. Has there ever been a movie aimed to review the channel but just ended up being complete shit? The movie itself? Yeah, it's happened. There was like a movie that I wanted to review, and when I watched it, I'm like, I can't do anything with this. It's terrible. I'm gonna try though. I mean, I'll give you a hint. Slender Man. I wanted to do Slender Man, but when we saw it, the movie was just so bad, and I felt like I would be reviewing half a movie because the movie looked that incomplete. So I can't get my head around it. But eventually, I'm gonna give it a shot. But haven't been able to yet. Congratulations on 4 years, man. Thank you. I absolutely love humor and content. It really helps me when I'm in a tough spot mentally. And that is another thing I actually absolutely love about doing what I do. I know there's a lot of things that I watch for comfort when I'm having a bad day or having a tough time. I'll watch something that just cheers me up. And being able to be that for other people, it just blows me away. It just warms my heart, and it really makes me want to keep doing this. I know I'm not a professional, I'm not a psychiatrist or anything like that, but if I can just brighten some days out there, I feel like I've done a pretty good job. Moving on with questions. What are some movies that you'll never review, horror-wise at least? Probably a lot of the older ones. I feel like I wouldn't be able to do it justice, like the old Abbott and Costello movies or the old Lon Chaney horror movies. I feel like I would be doing them a disservice by doing what I do with them. Then again, Ed Wood is open. Do I have any kids? I have 2 kids. What did I get for Christmas last year? I don't remember. If you Hey, did this come back? All right. Weird. I had to unplug the mic and plug it back in. Is it? Is it working now? I think it's working. The little green bar is moving. Okay. Now I know why people hire engineers. What was I saying? I think I was talking about snakes and spiders. Yeah, I would not. Uh, snakes and spiders. I don't know. I would have a hard time with either of those, but I feel like snakes I can respect more from a distance. Um, do you or have you ever smoked weed? No, I have never smoked weed. Moving along. What did you do? Will there ever be a meetup? Will there ever be a meetup again? I don't know. Maybe someday, if there's like a convention or something, if YouTube invites me to UConn or something, whatever that thing is, VidCon, uh, possibly. I mean, come on over, we'll fist bump and stuff, but, I'm not even thinking along those lines yet. I still want my play button, though. Let's see. Will you ever cover the Saw series? I would like to. I am planning to. Happy anniversary, lots of love from Serbia. Thank you for not being mad about the Serbian film. Will you do a collab with other horror movie channels? I did one so far with Demented Pictures. But there's more coming. Eventually, we're trying to weave in our own little network here. So I might be out of loop here, but in the clip, all your videos where the aliens say after these messages confuse me because it goes from video to that clip, then straight back to the video. Am I missing something? The ads aren't shown 100% of the time. Sometimes you don't get them. I think it depends on what their algorithm says that the ads that you're able to get, and if it's a video with limited ads, you get even less ads. So just be thankful you don't have a commercial. What are your cats' names? We did that. Here we go again. This is Karma, Loki, and Gabby. We call her Gabby because she's very talkative, and Gabi is Tagalog for night. There we go. What would you say, aside from editing, is the hardest part of such a gig? YouTube stuff. Editing is one of the hardest things. Well, not hard, but time-consuming. Sometimes just coming up with the inspiration when I have a movie that I want to review, there's kind of a pulse that I lock onto with the movie, and it'll kind of set itself up like a recurring gag, a recurring joke I make through it, or some kind of thematic thing I'm going through. But sometimes coming up with that is the hard part. Yeah, it'll take me about maybe a solid 8 hours of editing for one of the longer reviews. For a shorter, non-spoiler review, 2-3 hours tops. Before, the hardest part was filming, and I'm still very somewhat camera shy, and I kind of have to forget there's a camera. I just remembered there's a camera, but I just have to forget there's a camera and just kind of just make like I'm talking to people. And the first few videos I shot, I would start the recorder, and this was before I released any, but I'm still trying to shoot my first videos. Started the recorder, stared at the camera for 10 minutes, then turned off the recorder. I didn't say a word. And it's kind of hard to be impulsive just staring at a camera like that. But eventually I kind of loosened up and just got over that hump, then found out that editing really is probably one of the more thank you, Lensman. Thank you. It was one of the more troublesome and time-consuming things, but it's also the part I have some of the most fun with, because I write a script of a very loose script of things I want to say during the movie, and in the editing, that can change completely, and sometimes I have to go through and reshoot something or recut something. So before I actually start editing, I only have half of it created. The rest is built in the editing, and it can take it on a different direction. I can come up with more ideas. I can figure out which joke works, which don't. And that's also where the most mistakes come in. Let's see. Next question. Sure, my question is, how dare you? I dare. How long have you been? Happy anniversary. Here's so many more. Thank you. Is there a movie that you personally don't ever want to review, even if it can give you money or views? You know which one. Birdemic. When you start... When you started out, was it a slow process building up, or did you have a surge? Well, like I said, it was a slow process. The first 3 years, under 100 views a day was my average. Very small. Love Terrifier. That is a great movie. And then when I surged after the Human Centipede, it just ballooned like 1,000%. And my average a day is much better, but the first few years was very slow. It wasn't even a ramping up. It was just be I would gain subscribers, I would lose some. It would surge, and then it kind of took a higher average, but it's not as low as it used to be. Um, let's see. Did you hate Splice? I didn't hate Splice. That was actually another one I had fun reviewing. It's Splice is kind of one of those movies you can have fun with if you watch it with your friends, but it's not something I hated. You know, I enjoyed making that review, and I enjoyed watching it for the purpose of that. I had seen it before, and I had questions, but you know, reviewing it actually um, let me work through it and just kind of gain a new appreciation for that movie. Can you please explain what the series Deadhead is, please? Deadhead? The our our webcast? It's just when me and a couple other the Gorecast and our friend Mike, we shoot a group podcast where we talk about horror, alternate cinema, things like that. Um, yeah, well, answer my question. Sub under different accounts, but subbed. Trying to find Ethan. What's your question? Do you ever watch other movie review channels? I do a lot. I do watch Decker Shadow, Cinematic Excrement. I also watch other non reviewer channels, Tyrone Magnus, anything with Tony Baker. Requiem for a Dream. That was another movie that left me, but I'm not ruling that one out. Next question. What is one movie cliche you would get rid of forever? Jump scares. Very jump scares. I hate it in movies where, I mean, they use the framing where someone's here, they don't see anyone until their hand comes in from off camera. Stuff like that bugs me, and I wish they could at least give our movie characters peripheral vision. But jump scares, I would get rid of those. If I could combine any two movies, what would they be? Saw and the Muppet Movie. I love your reviews and sense of humor. Thank you. I feel weird reading all these compliments to myself, but thank you. I'm also one of those people who doesn't know how to take compliments, so thank you. I saw your video called "The Rat Tricks." Yeah, that was like 2003. It was a parody of The Matrix I made with rats, and it was just something I did for fun. I was trying to get a job with Pixar or ILM, so when I first created my YouTube channel, it was meant to be a repository for these animations I did for fun, and it was kind of going to be my demo reel. Then I kind of gave up on those, and just moved on to other things. But the videos were they've been there the whole time. Let's see. Please give my wife. Please give my wife Jessie Starr a shout out. Shout out to Jessie Starr from your loving husband Derek Edwards 40. Question is a two-parter. How did you and Queen Bee meet? I met my wife online, and we've been married for 3.5 years. And how did it go when you told her you wanted to do YouTube for a living? Oh, she was supportive. You make such a great couple. I agree. Me and my wife have been married for 8 years as of October 7. Congratulations. What kind of special effects in movies do you prefer, whether they're horror or other genre? I prefer practical effects, but there's some decent CGI effects too. I do prefer practical effects. For the main reason is they feel more real. Even when my mind is telling me it's a puppet, it still has a tangibility that you don't fully get with CG. And I notice when filmmakers have CG, they depend on it too much. They'll show you the creature, they'll show you more, and kind of pulls a little bit of that magic out. In Jaws, you rarely saw the shark because the machine that drove the shark broke down. So they had to be economical in showing you the creature. So it worked out. Good night, Kron. But if it was with a CG shark, you would see his face every single time, and it would just kind of pull that mystique out. So I don't like it when CG is used as a crutch or as a demo reel, where they're just showing off what they can do. It doesn't mean they should, but they just want to show off their bells and whistles. But with practical effects, they have to be smart about how much they can show. There's a scene in a movie with I don't want to say the name of the movie because it's my next review, but it's this monster is running down a hallway, but if you look at it too long, you know it's a puppet, and you'll see that it's a very bad puppet. But when they give it quick shots because they want to hide that it is a bad puppet, it makes it more effective because you get fleeting glimpses of this thing, and you don't have time to register. Oh, that was a puppet. That was a string pulling it. So you see what I mean? For practical effects can force filmmakers to be practical and more sensible with their shots, and CGI can spoil filmmakers into showing too much. Wow, that went into a rant, didn't it? What made you interested in making this channel? Street cred. I wanted a forum where I could share thoughts, opinions, jokes about movies and pop culture. Good night, Jay-Hee. Thanks for coming. Where was I? Okay. What is your day job? I work with virtual assistants, artificial intelligence, and it's a lot more data-driven than you think. It's a lot less Tony Stark. If you weren't a movie review channel, what else would you want your channel to be about? I would love to spend all day throwing things in a microwave and just destroying things. Or one of my favorite channels is called How Ridiculous, and they just spend all day throwing things off a tower. That just looks like fun. How's my day going? It's going pretty good. It's hot today. It's like in the 90s. That's why I'm a little shiny. But I'm doing good. I hope you all are doing good too. I watch your videos sometimes. I do movie reviews occasionally. Hopefully, I get better at editing over time. You will. It's a practice thing. It, it's one of those things that once you start to learn more and more what your program can do, you get a better sense of timing of everything. It just practice, practice, practice. Would I ever consider doing YouTube full time? If I paid enough, sure. If I could do PewDiePie money, yeah, I'll do it all day long. But right now, I still very much depend on my day job. Have I ever seen Daylight 90? Oh, Daylight was Stallone, where they were trapped in a tunnel. I did. I did. I remember thinking it was okay. It just felt like Die Hard in a tunnel. What did you want to review for the first time besides what you chose? I don't remember what I originally wanted to do, but then it kind of hit me. I should do a movie that kind of means something on a very personal level to me. And that movie was Delta Force 2. And that's because I was an extra in that movie, and I kind of felt like that would be a good jumping point to launch this channel with a movie that I was just so immersed in, and a movie I was so disappointed by. I was in the basketball scene. You can kind of see me in the very back, but we just had to sit there for 8 hours clapping for this actor who was supposed to be a good basketball player, just airball over and over. He could not play basketball. And we had to stomp, we had to clap, we had to cheer for 8 hours. And my friends got to sit right behind Chuck Norris. That was cool. But I got to walk behind him in a couple of the shots they didn't use. But I was waiting for this movie to come out. And when it finally came out, I went to see it. I was so excited. Not just because I was in it for like a split second, but I wanted to watch the final product of a movie I watched being filmed. Even though it wasn't an action scene, it was just people playing basketball. It was a scene to establish his normal life before he turns all vigilante or whatever. And that movie was awful. that was It was so bad. It was cheesy. It was nothing like the first Delta Force. It was almost like a parody of itself. Cast as a Jedi in the next chapter, what color lightsaber would you choose? Purple. What's the hardest part of doing these reviews? I think probably editing is the tougher part because a lot goes into it. But it's not hard because it's hard to do. It's just there's a lot to do. You're my modern day Ebert. I grew up with that certain review show. Great man. Thank you. I love Roger Ebert. I was when in the 80s I would watch At the Movies with him and Siskel and Ebert. It was my week was complete when I got to see Siskel and Ebert, and I was more excited about what they had to say about movies than the movie themselves. And I was always interested by how their opinions made me curious about whether I wanted to watch a movie or not. And they would give me more info than I could get from the commercial. So, and that kind of stuff stuck with me. And ever since then, anytime I watched a movie or something, I would review it in my head. I would have like these thoughts and these concepts about it. And I think that kind of evolved into this. I've seen half of Cop Out. My I had to leave halfway through the movie for some reason, but I did see part of it. Would you ever let your wife cut your hair? And is she home? Can she bring her on stream? She's busy doing something, but she is home, and if she wanted to, I would let her cut my hair. I trust her with my hair. What got me into movies? Movies to me has always been kind of an escape. Um, it was kind of a way of expanding my own mind and firing off my own imagination. And I liked having a connection to a movie where I really like it, I really enjoy it. I would learn to quote the movie and use what I learned in the movie, apply it to everyday life. Um, it was, to me, movies was the closest thing we have to magic. I mean, you look at a screen, you can see other worlds, other people living and dead. It's just a whole other world in itself, and I used to really, really want to be a part of that. Um, I was a screenwriter for years, trying to get that screenplay sold and stuff. I've written probably 20, 25 screenplays in my lifetime. Got close a couple times, but uh, I had one script that was shown to Flower Films. Uh, Drew Barrymore wanted to have a script to do that was female oriented, which my script was, and uh, it was a it was down to two scripts, the one she made and mine, and she ultimately went with the other script, and that movie became With It. So never got back to mine, and I kind of saw what was happening with screenplays these days. It's like it's written by the same five people now, so I just kind of moved on from that. So rather than be a bitter filmmaker, I am a bitter screenwriter. What is the best movie about food? Ratatouille. That movie surprisingly makes me hungry every time I see it. Even when you see these rats scuttling around in the kitchen, it still makes me think of food. Can you say my name, please? Okay, Boden Bayer? Boden Bayer? I think I'm saying that right. What made you specifically decide to review horror movies? It kind of happened. I mean, I tried not. In the beginning, I didn't want to pick any particular type of movie. I just, if it's a movie I enjoy, a movie I feel like I can share something about, I would handle it. But horror movies kind of, I see how popular they tend to be with than other movies, so I kind of went where the wind blows. Plus, they can kind of get a little crazy during the editing process. Oh, da, 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 da. Let's see. Ever watch blocks of retro commercials all the time? There's this channel I found that has like 80s and 90s commercials, and they bring back so many memories. Um, all these toys that I had, um, commercials that I still remember the words to, and even some of the local San Francisco commercials. They had whole blocks of these commercials for. They had the puppets that would do these PSAs for kids in the afternoon. Glue, I need glue. They just bring back a whole lot of memories, and they're not all good. I just realized just how noisy early '90s commercials are. They're just so flashy. Ugh. It is 4 a.m. What time is it there? Right now, it's like 8:14 in the evening. Brave opinion on the brave little toaster. I haven't seen that in ages. I remember it being kind of scary. Have I seen Alita Battle Angel? I've started watching it, but I had to stop. But I do want to finish it. I like what I see so far. Uh, Shazam. Okay. Yeah, those commercials are truly nostalgic. Do you like the San Francisco Giants? Um, I root for them. I'm not the biggest baseball fan, but Uh, I do root for them to win. Let's see. When will you review Shark Exorcist? When I can find a copy of it. I just got my hands on Velocipaster, and I need to watch that so bad. Uh, Congratulations, Tom. Now we need to get you over the 100,000 subscriber hump. Baby steps. I'm getting close, I think. I think it's, last I calculated, it would be about 6 months, going at the rate I'm going. So we'll see. How old am I? I'm 50? Never let me forget that. How is your mental state after all these after all these movies? It helps to have a cat. Just cuddle the cat afterwards, uh, or just remind myself it is a movie. It is just a movie. Don't try not to have any nightmares. If I do have the nightmares, just deal with it and move on. But generally, movies don't always bother me that much. Usually. That being said, when I was younger, the first Amityville Horror made me paranoid that somebody was going to bust into my room. Hello. I think it's because my computer is overheating. All right, sound is back. Sorry about that. I'm gonna see what happened here. No, it wasn't muted. I think something just went nuts. But I got the audio levels back again. Am I back? Hello? Is back. Okay. Sydney Breyer is alive. All right. I think I was talking about how long it takes to make a video. About 4 days. Favorite color? Blue. How did you come up with your name? My last name is Newbie. So I just kind of... I used to hate that word. Um, the beginner, newbie, noob. And it just... I would steam whenever somebody would get called a newbie. And it just made me hate my own name. But then I decided to embrace it, claim it, and make it my own. So I went with NewBee because it's easier to turn that into a logo. And somebody's asked, why does the bee have a pacifier? Because he's a baby bee, a new bee. Even the title of my channel is a dad joke. Your channel would probably be bigger if you reviewed mainstream movies or A-list movies. Probably. I mean, I don't always have time to get to the, the mainstream movies in a timely manner. I'm usually going to be like a couple of weeks late to get to it. And there was a time where the new movie reviews would get very little views compared to an older movie. So I kind of like steered away from those. Um, but I've done a few, and I may do more. It all depends on time, how much time I have in a day. Um, how does it feel knowing most of us just watch for your cats to tell you you need Jesus? That means you're there a lot. um, if they were watching a horror movie and the people inside the movie could hear you say, "Don't go in there, don't touch that, don't trust them," what would you do? I would say, "Do it, do it." I'd be there egging them on. Go in the basement. Usually, I'm telling people on screen, punch him, kick him in the balls. Um, Congrats. And the final question I got here is, what is your favorite horror movie? Poltergeist. I don't know, I think Poltergeist is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen, especially at the time because my family had just moved to a housing area that looked just like their neighborhood, and it was not pretty. I'm like, if I wanted to find graves, where would I look this up? We didn't have the internet, so I couldn't like search it or anything. So I was paranoid about graveyards popping up in my yard for a little bit. All right, let's look at some of the questions we have. Is there a movie you would give 4 or 5 Bs? Oh, absolutely. Um, I have a whole list of top 10 5B movies, but I mean, if I were to look through here, there's several 5B movies here. I just don't always do the the 5B movies because I don't always have a lot to say about them. Just me gushing for 20 minutes. Oh, I love this movie so much, but I can't. It's just sometimes it's more fun to review the lesser ones. Were you into the old 90s computers, Gateway and such? I never had a Gateway, but I had computers that I built myself. I mean, my first computer was a Commodore 64. I mean, that's how old school I was. And then I moved to a Commodore 128. And my first PC was a 286, which was just cobbled together with spare parts. And I don't think I had any fully built computers. I always had my own that I would put together piece by piece. It wasn't until much later that I started just buying Dells or whatever. But I loved putting computers together. Naked Lunch review. Yeah, there's definitely more Cronenberg movies in my future. What is your favorite monster and supervillain? I like the Cloverfield monster. Uh, I think it was because of the environment of the movie. It made it feel more grounded because you were at the POV of somebody looking up at this thing, and to me that made it very scary. Favorite supervillain? Lex Luthor. Oh, I was afraid the bee was a fetish thing. No, he's just into raves. Do you think the director and cast of Human Centipede are actually insane? They make me feel uneasy. I think they were probably so close to the production that all they saw was a film being made. From the outside, all we see are people stuck together, but from their side, they see the studio chairs, the lighting, the cables, the rigging, the catering table, and I'm sure from their end, it doesn't seem as intense as it does from our side. Plus, they're all strapped into plastic butts. I had a 64, an Amiga 500, a 486. Wow, an i5. That's what this computer is right now. It's an i5. I had an Amiga. I also had an Amiga 4000 running a video toaster. That's how old my video experience is. Let's see if we can find some more questions here. Did I watch In the Tall Grass? I haven't yet. Favorite band? I've always been partial to Billy Joel. Is that a JoJo shirt? No, it is the Justice League. I forgot to put on a B shirt. The Onania Club. Yeah, that's definitely on my radar. Ginger Snaps or Raw coming soon. I got Raw. I haven't watched it yet, but I have that. I have not seen Justice League Dark yet, but I would like to. I think I like pretty much every movie by Edgar Wright. I loved Shaun of the Dead, Baby Driver, Hot Fuzz. Nos de Dete. Det. Nos de Det. Can you say my name? Nos de Det. Favorite foreign film? A long time ago, I saw a movie called El Norte. It was about these immigrants from Mexico crossing into the border, and they have various problems when they do. I haven't seen it in decades, but it's stuck with me this whole time. Alien or Aliens? Both. They're two very different movies to me. Alien is a horror movie, and when I feel like being tense, that's the kind of movie that I would watch. But Aliens is an action science fiction movie, and when I want some ass kicking, get away from her, you bitch! That's a movie I put in. I know it's kind of a cop out, but that's how it is. They're two very different movies to me. Scott Pilgrim. I like Scott Pilgrim. He's kind of another guilty pleasure of mine. I think, yeah. I just picked it up on Blu-ray. It's just such an odd movie. At the World's End was fun. It kept making me think about Sean. And it makes me want to watch Sean when I saw that. Hi, Jamal. Let's see, let's show this thing. Alien has too many CRTs. They do love their screens in that movie. Also, the way they shine their displays on the people's faces, that don't look right. Ginger Snaps. I do want to watch that. Least favorite movie genre, or the one you've seen the least of? Courtroom dramas. There's very few courtroom dramas that I really do enjoy, but for the most part, I kind of steer clear of those. I do like 28 Days Later. Sofia Coppola movies. I saw her act in Godfather 3. There is a new video coming. I haven't shot it yet, but I've finished writing it. Can you do more found footage? I will. I actually have an idea for the next one, or it's not going to be right away, but eventually I'm going to do it. I have an idea where I'm going to watch a found footage movie with VR goggles and just see how the experience of a POV movie through VR goggles will work. It may be different, may make me nauseous, but I'm gonna see how that goes. 12 Angry Men is, to me, is different. It's not quite a courtroom movie. It's not like mostly about the lawyers and everything. It's about the jurors, and that was actually a much better movie and a much more different movie to me than a typical courtroom movie. Exorcism of Emily Rose. Yeah, it was a courtroom movie, wasn't it? And the courtroom stuff was kind of dull to me, but the last few minutes I think was the most interesting part where they're actually showing what was going on. But another disappointing thing about that movie is the best parts were in the commercials. All the little people going wow like that. Commercials. Yeah, motion sickness. I'm counting on it. Human Centipede from the business end. VR. Oh lordy, lordy. Bit off more than I could chew. Let's see. Night, By Night Clan 13. I'm glad you could make it. My favorite director. One of them is, I came up with this a while ago, but I don't know if it's kind of changed. But for a while, my favorite director was Robert Rodriguez. I read his book about how he does things and how he's very economical about how he does things. And instead of like waiting hours to set up a shot, to change the lighting, to get in there, he grabs a camera, runs in there, and shoots. And he keeps that energy going. His movies are have a lot of energy to them, and they just keep moving, and they're just brilliant the way they're done. El Mariachi, actually, that's another one of my favorite foreign movies. El Mariachi, Desperado, just really cool the way it just moves. I even liked Spy Kids, Shark Boy, Lava Girl. Moving on. Fly 2 is coming. Fly 2 is coming. What are some movies for me to get into horror? Depends. Do you like hauntings? Do you like zombies, possession movies? I have reviewed Insidious. If you want a good haunted house movie, I would start with the original Amityville Horror. Zombie movie, start with Night of the Living Dead, the original. Possession movie, The Exorcist. Who is my favorite Sith? Darth Vader, of course. Once a Sith, always a Sith. My least favorite horror movie. Oh, there's so many. Went over Slender Man. I don't know. There's some movies out there that just you can tell they gave up halfway through. When you watch movies, do you watch them with or without subtitles? I usually have them on by default anyway, so the subtitles are on. Sometimes I don't like the movie to be too loud if there's other people in the house. Sometimes I have to keep the sound down because the movie is like the dialogue is very low, but the music is booming and loud and explosions are killing you. And I was watching Fantasy Island last night, and it was like that. The music blew my eardrums out, and everyone's whispering. It drove me nuts. My favorite part about being a YouTuber, I've said this already, it's you guys. Do you watch Rick and Morty? All the time. I like Tarantino films. I'm not. I don't watch them too often, but there are some of his that I do watch a lot. Pulp Fiction is still my favorite of his. I've gained new appreciation for Death Proof. Love Candyman. Toy Story was a bad horror movie. Um, that monkey in Toy Story 3, that was terrifying. Have you ever thought about starting a Letterboxd or IMDb for reviews of films that you don't do? Um, Actually, I hadn't thought about it. Movie that made you lose grip on your hands the most? Centipede 2, I think. When he starts cutting the knee ligaments? Mm. Ha. Still think you should change your name to the Murder Bee. Pretty sure that's been copyrighted already. Um, any movies that you've changed your opinion of over time? Yeah. When I first saw The Fifth Element, I didn't care for it. I thought it was weird. I thought it was bizarre. Derivative. I was watching it wondering, what the hell am I looking at here? But then as I watched it more and more, I'm like, all right, I'm getting into this. I can get along with this. And it's now one of my favorite movies. But at first, I didn't care for it because I didn't understand it. But now I have a whole new appreciation for it. Opinions on South Park? I generally like South Park. I feel like their quality is kind of diminished. Timmy. Yeah, P.O. Box. I do have a P.O. Box. Full Metal Jacket. I would like to. You know, I may eventually. That'll be a hard. That would be a hard movie to review, but I do like a challenge. Going to open a P.O. box or something like that. I do have a P.O. box. I think the link, the description has the address. Do you like Cabin in the Woods? I actually really liked Cabin in the Woods. I thought it was fun the way it kind of turned all those tropes on their head. But I also realized just how selfish the two people were at the very end. I have watched Shutter Island, and yeah, it is weird when you watch it a second time knowing how things are going to happen. I didn't watch Valerian because the commercials didn't interest me. It didn't give me an idea what the movie was about. They were showing me all these pretty visuals, but it kind of felt like a movie that's what they were trying to sell me. And I didn't want to watch a video effects reel. I wanted something with characters. I could get behind a story, but I wasn't getting any of that from their commercials, and they just failed to hook me. And to this day, I still haven't seen it. Piano Man, brilliant song. I do love Baby Yoda. He's my desktop wallpaper right now. Donnie Darko. That was a weird movie. I don't hate it, but I don't understand it. I mean, I have to watch it again, knowing what I have read about it. Because when I watched the movie, I didn't understand what was going on. But I researched it. I'm gonna watch it again. Maybe review it. We'll see. What do you think of Joaquin and Joker? Oscar worthy. Joker, I thought, was a pretty good movie by itself. Maybe not the greatest Batman character movie, but all that stuff, the Gotham stuff, kind of seemed incidental. Like, you could have stripped out any references to Batman, Bruce Wayne, and all that, and it would still be an excellent movie. I do like sushi. Favorite type of pizza. It's a mood thing. Sometimes I go with vegetarian, or sometimes I just go with just a simple pepperoni. I recently discovered this meat marvel. I don't know what it's called, but it's got like 4 kinds of meat on it. There's a pizza place a couple towns over that I really like. They don't deliver. What movie would you watch that would be good for someone who has never seen a horror movie? Like to ease you into the horror genre? I would say Poltergeist. I mean, it's scary, but it also has enough levity in it that kind of offsets the horror and the dread. So it's not like sicking them into Human Centipede, which is all dread all the way through. Poltergeist has a lot of humor that'll kind of soften the blow that the horror will strike. Not like me, where The Exorcist was my initiation. I do like American Beauty. Got any good horror books? Um, Not on me right now. I got some Stephen King. Um, I have a lot of true ghost story books, which actually kind of scare me more than novels. My favorite actor. I have a lot of favorite actors, but currently one of them is it's based on his name, Tom Hanks. He's one of my favorite actors. Um, Gary Oldman. Did you like Tron? I like Tron. At the first time I saw it in the '80s, I was mesmerized by it because they told me it was made by computers. I later found out that a great deal of it wasn't, but even the parts that were made by computers, it blew me away because to me, computers were numbers and letters. I didn't think it could do graphics, and that kind of opened up the door to that, my interest in computers. Have I seen Chef? Is that a movie? Or is that the guy from South Park? If I had to live in a horror movie, what horror movie would I live in? I don't recommend Saw or The Collector. I imagine I would have to be in the horror situation, right? I can't say Friday the 13th and not go anywhere near Camp Crystal Lake. Um, I don't know. I feel like I could get away with Saw. Well, no. I would just do everything I could to not piss off Jigsaw. He wouldn't hurt me. What's the scariest movie you've watched that was so scary due to the atmosphere and writing rather than jump scares? I think one of them was The Ring, Insidious. Mostly because those movies had a tone to them, a very dark, de- depressive, consistent tone all the way through that just kind of beat me down the whole time. And when it was over, I was still beaten down. It was a good experience. It's not like it was oppressive, but it just kind of made you tense through the whole thing. And it just that kind of experience at the movies is anything that brings out a good emotional release is the mark of a good movie. And when a movie relies on jump scares, which aren't scares to me, they're startling. They're not scary. Um, that's a cheat. That's why I would eliminate that. Boo! You like wings? I love wings. Sometimes when I order pizza, I have to get a side of wings. Um, Before the pandemic, how often did you go out to the movies? Once every couple of weeks, depending. If there was more than one movie out, maybe a couple of times in a weekend. See you later, Corey. Thanks for coming by. But yeah, it's been a lot less now. But I think we might be trying the drive-in one of these days. There's a couple of drive-ins in the immediate area here. I have seen a Serbian film. Um, how long is the stream going to go for? I think I'll give it another 15 minutes because 2 hours is a lot to ask. uh, and my throat's starting to go. I have seen the movie Pet. I did a non-spoiler review of it a couple years back, I believe. What is the story behind those animation videos on your channel? They were made for fun. The Star Wars parodies were made for the Star Wars Fan Film Awards that was being done by Atom Films at the time. And they actually got aired on the Sci-Fi Channel. And the program, somebody uploaded it to YouTube a few weeks ago. I watched it and I saw my segments are still there. But the other videos were like, I'll get this idea to make a movie parody with animals or whatever, and I would turn a one concept joke into an animated short. And to do that, I was inspired by the Killer Bean. I don't know if you ever heard of the Killer Bean. So I figure it's a good way to hone my animation skills, gives me something to do, and maybe if I can get a job in animation, this would be a good way to get noticed, have a reel. But eventually, I just kind of got burned out on doing that. I moved on to other things. I stopped doing that right around the time I got a full-time job, and right after the Birdemic guy incident, I kind of stopped working on that. Can we get a chef in chat? Oh, it's a Jon Favreau film. I haven't seen it. Let's see. For Creep by Mark Duplass. Yeah. Creep 2 also. That is a very disturbing movie because it has so much tension in it. You know something horrible is about to happen, and when it does, oh my god. Oh yeah. For me, Silent Hill scarred me after the scene where the girl gets a titty twister of the ages. I know exactly what you're talking about. When I first saw that on screen, I yelped. That was so brutal. What movie had the most disturbing gore? Hard to say. Some movies have a lot of gore, but it also feels like it looks fake, so it doesn't bother me all that much because my brain is telling me that's latex, that's corn syrup, that's food coloring. But sometimes if it's something that's implied or very small and localized, like the castration scene in Centipede 3, that one had me squirming, but it was very quick, very snip snip. You know, it wasn't as out there as, like, say, Hellraiser, but it had enough. My favorite slasher, Freddy. I don't play Mortal Kombat because I am terrible at fighting games. I'm a button masher. I just do everything I can in every combination. When I learn a trick move, I do that over and over again. I'm one of those people. But I used to be terrible. Toasty! Yeah, I have 2 kids. Um, I I don't think Midsummer was overrated. I don't think it was rated properly. Uh, if you try to look at it as a traditional horror movie, you're going to be disappointed because it's not a traditional horror movie. But if it's an experience that's disturbing, that's unnerving, that it fills you with dread, then it's a lot. I think you're better off thinking of it in those terms. Don't look at it as a horror movie. It's a drama with horrifying things in it. Which Disney or Nick Kids show do you want made into a franchise? Horror franchise. Are you afraid of the dark? I was gonna go with Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, but yeah, I like yours too. Why do you do non-spoiler reviews? I do the non-spoiler reviews on movies that are newer, that may still be into theaters, or I don't have footage of the whole movie online yet, where I can, do what I normally do. I do usually want to re-expand it when the movie gets older, because if you have too much footage of a newer movie, YouTube will flag it right away, and I'll get busted on that. So to avoid that, for the newer movies, I tend to do shorter, non-spoiler ones. I can get them out quicker, and then later when I can devote more time to it and have actual footage I can scroll through, then I can do a longer review. I'm pretty sure I did that with Hereditary. I had the shorter review a couple years back, and then I recently did it full. Why are people firing off fireworks out there? The worst movie I have ever reviewed. Thank you, AW. The worst movie I've ever reviewed. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. I know there's like 1B movies out there, but honestly, I can't think of it right now. Who's my favorite Marvel superhero? Tony Stark, but mainly because I want his money. Would I ever voice act if given the opportunity? Sure, I think that would be fun. I did voice acting in a couple of machinimas, not including my own, but Gray Fu, who did a World of Warcraft music video. I was the geeky human guy who got turned into an undead critter. I was credited as Bulworth, but yeah, I used to want to do voices. There was a time I did a lot more impressions, vocal impersonations. I don't do that as much because the older I get, I kind of lost a lot of my impressions. I used to do a pretty good Sean Connery. Do you write code? I work with code. I write a little bit, but I'm not like a programmer by any means. Most of my stuff is CSS, HTML, styling, how things look, but I'm not really a programmer. I haven't seen the new Twilight Zone series. I can't buy too many streaming services. I just kind of have a mental block about that. The house that Jack built. Review the house that Jack built. Okay. Here's to the next 4. Yep. How many times did I squeeze my fist during Human Centipede? I lost track. The Machinist machine amp scene is a bit scary. Machinist, is that where Batman was like nightmarishly skinny? Yeah, that whole movie was messed up. Opinion of the Witch. Or the Vivitch. I know, I always wonder why they spelled it with 2 V's. I liked it. I thought it was a good, interesting movie. I have been wanting to re-watch it because I wasn't paying full attention when it was on last time. But eventually, I do want to re-watch it. Record Gaming, thanks for coming by. How come you clench your fist during some reviews? Well, it's a thing with me. when I'm grossed out by something involving blood, it's not all blood, but certain types of things, it makes my fists weak. Like I can't squeeze a hard fist, and it's I finally Googled it. I was like this ever since I was tiny, and I finally Googled it, and they said it was kind of something similar to fainting. But one of the incredible things I discovered when I told people about that on this channel, a lot of other people have something similar, if not the same thing. So I didn't feel as alone or weird anymore. It's like this is a thing, or getting grossed out or disturbed by blood does that to me. So it's not everything. I can see somebody get their head lopped off. Highlander doesn't do this. That one episode in House when he was instructing this lady to cut open herself to do her own appendectomy, that, yeah, just thinking about that. Yeah. So, it does depend on the circumstances, but certain things just do get it. Okay, can you please say that cash sucks ass? Okay. Let's see. I don't play favorite horror movie, if anything. Friday the 13th. Which one? I did Jason 10, Jason X, which is another guilty pleasure of mine. Have you seen The Thaw or Contracted? Funny you mentioned Contracted. It's coming up. I haven't fully watched it yet, but so far. If you had to pick 3 horror movie villains to protect you from Marvel and DC superheroes, who would you choose? Villains? Magneto. No. Horror movie villains. I think Freddy could take them all out. They all got to sleep. Even that epic rap battle, Freddy Krueger versus Wolverine, I think Freddy came out a little bit on top of that. Are there any actors that surprised you that they got big based on early movies you saw and vice versa? Got big. I wouldn't say that I got surprised. Like Drew Barrymore, she was in Firestarter, and I could tell she was going to be like big, but then she kind of disappeared for a while. But Michael Keaton, I thought he was a funny comedian, and then one day he's Batman, and that shocked the hell out of me. And then Robin Williams, he was Mork from Mork, and became one of the biggest comedians on the planet. So, yeah, I would say I got very surprised by a lot of early people. I don't play World of Warcraft anymore. It was taking up too much of my time, and when you don't have that regimen, that because when I played it, it kind of was like a second job. I'll come home from work, log in, raid, and then it just kind of sucked too much time. One of the things I was doing when I started this channel was weaning myself off World of Warcraft. Piranha or Piranha Double D? Which one's better? You did that Japanese in China torture movie where they beat up some mother? Audition? I don't know. Hi, Boop. The Spiral trailer. Yes, I have seen it. I can't wait. I'm interested to see how they're gonna expand Saw. I thought it was supposed to be a reboot, but it feels like it's more of a parallel story to it. I might be wrong. Candyman remake trailer. It intrigued me, but you're gonna have to work to win me over because the original Candyman was one of my favorite horror movies. I mean, you're gonna have to work hard to top that one. But I do have a lot of faith in the filmmakers, so I'm gonna give it a chance. Brightburn. I actually enjoyed Brightburn. It answered a lot of my theoretical questions. What if Superman was bad? I do want to do a full review of that someday. I have watched The Shawshank Redemption, and I held off on that for the longest time because I thought it was supposed to be one of those prison movies where they ends horribly, but the ending was so uplifting and sweet that I'm like, why did I avoid this long? It was a great movie. I miss my friend Andy Dufresne. What is what is a horror monster villain that would terrify you if they found out they were real? Any of them? Um, I think Freddy would probably be the scariest one because I don't think you have to be nearby for him. Jason, stay the hell away from Camp Crystal Lake. You're good. Jaws, stay out of the water. Prana 3D is better than 3D, but they're both surprising, purposeful garbage. I mean, I think those movies have, they know their audience. I gotta go. Keep up the good work. Bye, Escobar. And it's been 2 hours, so I think I'm gonna start wrapping things up. We'll do a couple more questions. I haven't watched The Boys yet, but I hear it's really good, and I'm going to start. Good Night, Mommy. I hear about that. I do want to watch that. I do like King of the Hill. I'll tell you what. I've seen Fear of the Walking Dead. I didn't really care for it. I'm not. I kind of got over The Walking Dead because I'm so tired of zombies. Do you think it's better to review new movies because of the algorithm or old obscure movies to bring in a new audience? Um, it's a little. Well, when the newer ones, I have to do a specific way with less footage because the other algorithm is looking for copyrighted material, and I think they relax that when a movie gets older. So I try to do a mix. Some new ones that are less footagey, and then older ones which are more full. And then when I have the time, I'll do a full version of that one. A horror movie monster that would be real. Predator, does an alien count? Hell yes, it counts. uh, Favorite color is blue. And I haven't seen Winchester yet, but I picked up a copy, so I do eventually want to see that. I'm glad I'm able to keep you from getting freaked out. Yeah, I've considered reviewing some of the older Romero zombie movies. Um, I just rewatched Night of the Living Dead, and wow, I mean, considering how old that movie is, it is still surprisingly good and holds up. Saw in real life would be horrifying. But I think I'm going to end it here. But that's my first live stream. I'm sorry about all the technical difficulties, and I'll figure out what's going on here. But we'll try again at 5 years. But thank you so much everyone for coming, for watching, for chipping in. Loved having your great questions and just being able to connect with you guys. I mean, I love it. Love you guys. It is so much fun. You guys keep this fun. So that's going to be it for me. Like, subscribe, comment. Just feels weird not to end a video saying that. Like, subscribe, comment, the bell, usual YouTube stuff. So I'm just gonna end it with, this is the newbie, and I'll see you later, kids.